don't need a college education. You don't need a real estate license. You don't even need real estate education. All you need is master the script. What I did, I picked up a list from PropStream and I started calling myself with the same script. And then 8 months later, I got my first deal under contract and I made $2,000, right? So then I started hiring cold callers overseas, right? Now I have my own cold call service, right? Now I have my own agency. I have about 430 employees that work for me in Egypt. So now I'm supplying cold callers to other investors and wholesalers and stuff like that, and including using it for myself. 6 years later, we started building so much capital, right? Going back to your question, like how did I acquire 32 properties? It was all through wholesaling.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Light It Up podcast. If you're new to this channel and you want to know everything there is about making money in real estate, selling, sales skills, building your business, or investing, then subscribe below. Tap the bell for notifications so you can be the first to know what makes our great guests so successful.
Let's talk about adding leverage. So we've been getting a lot of calls of people asking us how we've hired virtual assistants to scale and leverage our business. So we've opened up our playbook to all of you. If you're looking to add leverage in your business, whether it's administrative support, ISA, outbound callers, go to addleverage.com and they'll be there to help you staffing your team.
All right, today we have Abdullah Ghaffar in Chicago, Illinois. How did I do there, man? I pronounce it correctly?
You did great, man. Let's light it up.
Let's light it up.
Let's do it, man. Before we jump in about you, let's do the lightning round, which is questions that are unrelated to real estate to break the ice. I'll start us off.
Audio Jungle.
Who's the worst boss you've ever had and why?
The worst boss, man. Every single boss is the worst boss, you know? I feel like nowadays a boss is supposed to be a leader, right? And if he really wants to keep his employees, he has to be a leader. He has to show the path, right? Not just like belittle the person and just oversee him and just, you just tease him and every little thing that he does, right? Like belittling.
Like what John just did to me? I'm just kidding.
Am I your boss?
No. But that was good.
It changed I'm glad that happened to me because it changed me as a person, right? So I was like, hey, if I ever become, a boss, I don't want to go through this, right?
Exactly.
I'm going to actually treat my people right. So I feel like everyone has to become an employee and go through that cycle to where they know, hey, this is the do's and this is the don'ts, Like you don't want anyone to do something to you that, you wouldn't want yourself to be done, So it's just like the same type of concept there. I was like, I'm glad this went through and, I had this experience, but now I'm going to be a leader. I'm going to actually be a good boss to where my team wants to stay with me and, they have to, they see my vision.
Yeah.
So there's no one in particular you want to shout out?
No, man, they're all bad. So that's why I had to leave. So
I like the answer anyway. All right. What book has made the biggest impact on your life?
Traction.
Okay.
Gino Wickman?
Yeah. So that book, man, what he does, he tells you about systems, processes, and people, and how you could delegate and automate, and and how to actually form a company the correct way, right? And then how to scale a company. So if you guys read it, you guys understand the concept where it's like it's not just you in the business, it's everything around you in the business and how you could oversee the companies, right? So it's working on the business, not in the business.
Yep.
And it's that type of concept. So
Awesome, man.
it's really phenomenal book. Yeah.
Good choice.
I'll ring this one same vein. Who had the most influence on you growing up?
Man, my father. I give all the shout out to my father because I saw him work so hard, right? Multiple jobs that I was like, hey, when I grow up, I want this type of hunger. I want this type of drive, right? How does someone work 3-4 jobs and still have time for his family and still has time for his wife and still this and that, He would make time for everything. Plus, he was going to school at the same time while working these jobs, right? So it's just like he's doing all these things. I'm just like, I want to have a drive like this. So as soon as I turned the age of 14, I was like, hey, perhaps, he was selling T-shirts and socks and whatnot. He was like doing all these little side jobs, trying to make things happen. And I would just go with him. I was like, hey, can I learn? So I'm at these like flea markets with him and stuff like that, learning Spanish, all types of stuff, man, trying to make some money. I wasn't really, getting paid that well, but it was like, hey, it was for the experience,
Yeah.
So it was just like.
But you were born here, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. There's something to be said, man, about like people who grow up with immigrant parents.
Yeah.
They instill that hustle whether
Yeah.
they meant to or not early on.
Yeah. And that's what, I feel like it's a benefit if you have immigrant parents and you see their drive and their work ethic. And even though you're born here and you just implement what they do and just, add a little bit of touch of, technology, I feel like you could go far in this business, in any business. So you just need that drive. That's
Yeah,
pretty much what it is, man.
I
And
like
that's
that.
what, immigrant parents have.
I like that, man.
What are some of your personal rules that you refuse to break?
Man, there's a lot of rules, that I refuse to break, but, well, when I fire someone, I don't rehire them. That's one rule, right? There's a reason why I fired them in the first place. So that's one thing about in business. And, well, there's a few rules when it comes to like religion that I bring to my business world as well, where, there's no interest. I don't take any interest. I don't take any loans. So, in real estate, like all the properties that I own about 32 rentals. They're all paid off. I own a rideshare company. I own about 73 cars. They're all paid off. So even, my houses, my cars, everything that I have, I don't, it's in my religion, I can't take interest on loans. So that's one rule. And I get tempted so many times because, I have investors like, hey, I have this deal right here. We can make 200,000. Let's do this. Let's do that. And, oh, this is a sub two deal. We could just put it under someone else's name. I'm like, I can't take it. Neither can I take it or neither can I give it. Right. I
Mm.
can't give away money for interest either. So it's just like, those are some rules and regulations where I'm like, hey, I don't even touch that. And
Got it.
no
What do the
drinking, no.
Pakistanis have against interest?
It's called
I
the
mean,
riba.
I'm being sarcastic, but this is not the first time I've heard this, though. There's something similar in like the Jewish faith, right?
It's different, but it's a Muslim thing.
Right.
Yeah, it's Muslim thing. Yeah, it's not just
But
Pakistanis, but
what is it
anyone.
that they feel?
So there's multiple things about it. It's called riba in Arabic, right? It says in our holy book that hey, it's against our religion. The reason is, imagine you took a loan for $5 million, right? $5 million loan is basically you having a few properties, not that much, right? Suppose you don't pay like 10, 20 properties. Now imagine you're the man of the house. You're the one supplying the family. You're the one that's the breadwinner, bringing food to the table. You have a wife, you have kids. Now suppose something happens to you. Guess what happens? That loan, all that stuff gets transferred to your wife, your kids. Now you're putting them in a bad predicament, right? And plus, and the other thing they say, when you take loans and interest and stuff like that, if you take $5 million, you don't owe the bank $5 million. You actually owe them $25 million in the matter of 30-year fix.
Sure.
You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's like a 3x, maybe from 5 million to maybe 15 million. You'll probably own 15 million. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So it's just like stuff like that. And then they also say that, you put other people in a bad predicament when you do something like this, right?
Mhm.
Especially in America, if you take any type of loans and you're not here, it gets transferred to your,
Yeah.
to your family members.
So
That's one of the reasons why.
in order for you to acquire the 32, did you have to save, or did you have to hustle to find ways like businesses to generate cash to purchase them, or did you have to group fundraise money, like syndications to
I
purchase
think he said no partners.
Yeah. So how I did it, I did a lot of side gigs. I'm a business analyst. I was in the IT industry for a bit, and I didn't really enjoy it that much, but it was a good experience for me. And I was a pizza delivery driver as well, so I did that for a bit, and just little side gigs, and throughout my whole life, right? But when I found real estate wholesaling when I was around 22 years old, and I was actually delivering pizza, and I was like, you know what? Rather than listening to some music today, let me educate myself, and on YouTube. So I knew that the most millionaires are made in real estate. So I went on YouTube, typed in how to make money in real estate. And then I found all these videos and I just went one by one. And then what really stood out to me was one video by Brant Daniels.
Yep.
ETP. He said, you don't need a college education. You don't need a real estate license. You don't even need real estate education. All you need is this script, master the script, and it's a sales and marketing company. It's called Real Estate Wholesaling, right? So I was like, oh, let me look into this. Because I looked into all types of stuff as a, optimistic person. I was like, hey, let me start e-commerce business. Let me start a cell phone business. Let me try this. Let me sell this. Like I'm doing all types of things, right? So when I got into this, I was like, the most millionaires are made in this business. And then I saw other people's testimonials, other people that made 20,000, 10,000, 30,000. So I'm like, hey, these are big chunks of money. I don't think I ever made, I never saw this type of money ever in my life.
Mhm.
And I'm like, dude, if I get one of these checks, one of these $20,000, $30,000 checks, I'm gonna be rich, I'm gonna be, I'm gonna have some money. At that time, I had under $3,000 in my accounts at all times, right?
Mm.
So it's like, and when I had 3,000, I was thought, oh yeah, I could buy anything I want, any shoe I want, but it wasn't really,
Yeah.
it wasn't that. So, what I did, I picked up a list from PropStream and I started calling myself with the same script. And then 8 months later, I got my first deal under contract and I made $2,000.
Mm.
Right. So for the 8 months I was driving, I was trying to figure out the business, how to open up escrow, how to find a buyer, what title companies do I use, how do I talk to sellers, just mastering the craft. Right. But once I proved the concept 8 months later, then I knew, hey, this works. Yeah, I made $2,000, but it wasn't about the money. It was like, hey, this works. And I finally proved the concept. So now what I did, I went all in, right? So then I, started hiring cold callers overseas, right? Now I have my own cold call service, right? Now I have my own agency. I have about 430 employees that work for me in Egypt. So now I'm supplying cold callers to other investors and wholesalers and stuff like that, and including using it for myself, right? So started doing that. And yeah, man, 6 years later, we started building so much capital, right? Going back to your question, like, how did I acquire 32 properties? It was all through wholesaling. So what I did, first assignment, everything that I had, I started reinvesting. I didn't start buying properties until like my third or fourth year in, right? Until I had a few $100,000 saved up. And then I started, so we were doing like 50K months, 100K months. We're like, hey, we kind of cracked the code when it came to this. And then we're like, what do we do with this cash? Because money sitting is money doing nothing.
Yeah.
So how do I, multiply this? Then I started getting to fixing and flipping, buying rentals. And, now we have, over 30 rentals. We have about 8 flips going on right now. We have Airbnbs. We have, and I'm investing in different companies. So like I have a total of 8 companies right now, right?
Sweet, man.
So it's like, all of them are doing high 6, 7, or even 7 figures, right? So it's just like putting money into other businesses, but it all started from wholesaling, right? So it's like no interest, no loans. It's all cash.
Yeah.
So,
When you first hired those wholesalers and you said, I'm going to go all in, what was the system like? What was the structure of like how you would funnel deals for wholesales?
Dialers?
Yeah.
As you said, wholesalers.
Sorry. When you had the callers. Yeah. So like, how was the structure set up? Like, can you walk us through that funnel?
So when I first got started hiring cold callers, there's people on YouTube that were talking about online.ph, right? There's this Philippine website, and you can use Fiverr and Upwork. We're using like lead managers and skip tracers and stuff like that from those type of websites. But we were getting it for like $3 an hour, right? 250, 350 around there, right? That's the price range was around then. So we were picking up these cold callers and then training these cold callers to bring us warm leads, right? So we're like, hey, you guys, the way you guys sound, you're not closing any deals, right? I'm nothing to be, it wasn't like that, but it was like, hey, I don't think you guys could.
They weren't strong enough on the phone.
Exactly. So I'm like, hey, why don't you just warm up the prospect for me? Because I don't have time. Because I've been cold calling, 50 to 100 people every single day. And
you're speaking our language. Kiro and I did the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So you get burnt out by that. So I was like, hey, can you just call these people and just ask them, hey, you're local in the area, same type of script. So I train them on the script. Hey, I'm a local investor in the area. I'm looking to buy some properties. Would you be interested in selling? Would you be interested in a cash offer? That's it. If they are, awesome. Is it vacant or occupied? Get that down. Okay. How many beds and baths? Just want to confirm that. Okay, awesome. So what's the reason you're selling? Okay, cool. We got all that information, right? And then just send it over to me. Let me build rapport. Let me negotiate a price that makes sense for both parties, and let me get under contract, right? And if I sell it, I'll give you extra $100 if we close, right? With that lead that you bring us. Plus, you get your salary, right? So that's basically what it was. We hired one, then we hired two, and they just kept on going. And I'm just like, I could turn this into a company. Like I want 10 good guys. And then what I did, I met one guy in Egypt and he was through like Fiverr and Upwork. And he's like, dude, why don't you get cold callers here? They're phenomenal English. I'll get it for you and everything. I'm like, okay, let's try it out. So then he got me a few. And then I was like, dude, these cold callers in Egypt are doing phenomenal for us. And then I'm like, yo, can you give me 10? And then he got me 10. I'm like, yo, can you give me 15? And we just kept going up, right? And then I started posting on social media, hey guys, I just did this. I just made 18,000, 30,000, 100,000, off one assignment. And then I started getting traction. So now people come to me, but hey, can you coach me in this? So I'm like, for sure, like I kind of have the blueprint, just copy and paste what I'm doing. If it's working for me, it's going to work for you. And you're going to skip those hurdles by hiring a coach.
Yeah.
And then when I was doing that, I was like, hey, my colleague Logan, I was like, hey, can you get more callers for me? He's like, yeah, of course. He just goes to libraries and goes to schools and stuff like that and puts out flyers and all that stuff and saying, hey, are you looking for remote work? If you are, akcallers.com is hiring, so it's like, okay, cool. So next thing you know, now we have over 400 employees,
That's
right?
awesome.
That are catering to other wholesalers. And I have some of the heaviest names, the heaviest hitters in the industry, people that that I can't really say names out right now because we have like disclosures and stuff, but I have some of the heaviest hitters in the industry, especially when it comes to wholesaling, that are using my services. So
Yeah.
Sweet,
I'm
man.
blessed to have that opportunity. And these guys are, some of our affiliates, some of them are just like, one of the guys has like 20 cold callers for his own company, and then plus they're like affiliates because they have their own brand. So,
Sweet.
man,
That's great.
it's good.
Did you ever track the metric of what one caller, like how many deals they would produce in a month, in a year?
Yeah. So each cold caller was bringing at least 2 warm leads per day,
Mhm.
right? So depending on the list, right, they were calling anywhere from 300 to 600 people every single day, right? Depending on the list. Or some even were calling like 900,
Mhm.
right? And these are like answered calls and stuff. Some are answered, some are not answered, some are going to voicemail. But dials wise, they were doing anywhere from 300 to like, I would say 1,500 at max dials,
Wow.
right? But it doesn't mean that every single person picked up or there's
Yeah.
some wrong numbers and, stuff like that,
Were
right?
they using like
So
Mojo or Ready Mode or?
ready mode.
Okay.
Ready mode was called Zen.
Zendesk.
Zendesk. Yeah,
Zen
it's
What
called
is it?
Zen
Yeah.
Call. Yeah, it's called Zen Call. Zen Call before, now they switched up to Ready Mode. So that's what we're using. And I love Ready Mode because it has a full built-in CRM where you could track all the metric. You track talk time, you could
Mhm.
track how many calls were made, how many were declined, how many went to voicemail. So you see all those metrics. Plus you see how many hours they worked, right?
Yep.
Talk time, and you could track everything. So that gave me all the metrics I needed, right? So I would pay them through Ready Mode. I'm like, okay, let's see how many calls you made. Okay, you worked 8 hours. Cool. I'm paying you for those 8 hours.
Mhm.
Plus, times we pay them once a month, right? So we just add all that stuff up. Boom. So that's how I track my metrics. And then what I got into was Plecto. Plecto is another software. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this,
Mm-mm.
but I would integrate that to my CRM, which I use Podio, and then that would give me even more metrics for my acquisitions, right? Then we started getting acquisitions because I was like, yo, I'm getting 2 warm leads per day. I can only give 3 to 5 offers per day, right?
Mhm.
With the leads that I have. To double up and to make more money, I need more guys that could make more offers. Because how do you get conversions? Conversions is, hey, if you need more leads equals to
More
more
offers.
conversions, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like more offers equal more conversions, right? And then more conversions, more money. So I was like, hey, we need more acquisitions in the building. So then we started an in-house team. So I was like, hey, it was just me and my brother. We're just doing this as a hobby, trying to make some money. And then we're like, hey, this is actual business now, right?
Yeah.
It's like, once you start doing 6 figures a month, 50K months, it's like, okay, this is
Yeah.
more than a hobby now. So I used to make this a year. Now I'm making this a month. So I was like, okay, we got to,
Go all
figure
out.
something out here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I have like 6 guys in office, and each acquisition is making about anywhere from like last year, and on average, each acquisition made 400,000 for us.
Nice.
Damn.
In assignments.
And those acquisitions people are in-house or they're virtual
In-house.
as well?
In-house. So the way I have it set up, this is my formula, right? So every 5 cold callers, we have 1 acquisition,
Mhm.
right? So each acquisition gets about minimum of 10 warm leads per day, right? So it's like that's what the formula is that we have. So we
Mhm.
have 30 cold callers overseas, and then we have 6 guys in office that are cold calling the warm leads, right? Just talking to the warm prospects and getting stuff under contract, and plus they're doing follow-ups and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So
That's cool.
that's what the formula is.
What's the conversion for the acquisition? So they're getting 10 leads each time. Like how many assignments or contracts will they lock up under contract in a given month? On
So
average?
for cold calling, the metrics are every 28 to 30 warm leads that come in, there's a contract,
Mhm.
right? So you do the math. So every 2-3 days, they're getting contracts,
Mhm.
right? So minimum of 3 contracts a week. But some guys do 2, some guys do 5, right? I have a guy who's on a roll right now, and he's been getting a contract every single day since the year started.
And one of
right?
your
He just-
acquisition people.
Yeah, one of my acquisition people.
And how do they
So-
get paid?
They get only commission based. So I give them anywhere from 15 to 20% commission.
Mhm.
Plus I give them like a small base salary just to cover their gas, food, coffee, lunch is included at our office. But it's mostly commission because I'm spending $40,000-$50,000 a month just on
Yeah.
marketing now, just to give them so much opportunity that they're going to be making it. My guys make it minimum $5,000, right? Which is like decent. But I got guys that are making like
Minimum 5,000 in what period?
a
Per
month.
transaction. Oh, okay.
Per transaction.
Yeah, that's just like one. If they close one deal that month, if everything, if they have about 10 deals under contract, and we even close one deal out of that, 10% conversion, they're
Mhm.
making 5,000. But usually they get 2-3 deals sold because not everything they get under contract sells, right?
Yeah.
Because sellers are liars. So it's like we'll lock something up. It needs more work than expected,
Mhm.
right? Or it has more liens and encumbrances than we expected,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Even if they sell one deal, they make minimum of $5,000 a month.
Yeah.
They sell 2, 3 deals and making 10, 15, $20,000 a month
Yeah.
just off their commission,
Yeah.
which is who's going to pay you $20,000 of commission? Because, and these guys, most of the guys that that come to me, they're realtors or they tried wholesaling, but they can't really get the understanding of it because you need a good marketing budget to make money in this business, right? You can't spend only $1,000 and think you're to be a millionaire,
So you said that they make about 20, was it 20%?
15 to 20%.
15 to 20% of the spread.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you're looking at it in terms, so the formula is 5 cold callers to every acquisitions are converting roughly 28 to 30. It's like an offer submitted essentially is what you're saying, or an offer accepted.
Contract signed.
Okay, awesome. And then you're saying it's like a conversion ratio of 10 to 20% of those actually meet to closing after the diligence phase and so on and so forth.
We close about 30% of all our deals overall. But I'm saying even if they close one contract, even at a 10% close rate for that month.
Oh, that's how much they make. You got it.
5,000 minimum, right? But our goal is to be at the 30%. At least close 3 out of 10 deals that they get under contract.
And they're only getting paid if it actually closes and at closing, right? Yeah. So you don't get paid anything up front for pendings or anything.
Yeah.
No.
It's a good structure.
Yeah.
Okay.
What other methods or what other pipelines are you using to generate leads to convert?
Cold calling is like the main one.
Yeah.
Because we get thousands of leads every single month from that. And then plus I have my own company for that lead generation.
Yeah.
And they're all trained by me. And I'm gonna be honest, every other method like SMS, we tried SMS, a lot of regulations, RVM drops, a lot of regulations, PPC, we still do a little bit of PPC, but the cost per click is just so expensive right now that it's like, if you're getting a lead for about 150 to 170 per lead, it's anywhere, especially in Jersey, you're probably paying over $200 per lead, right?
Yeah.
So now on a PPC conversion is anywhere from 8 to 10 warm leads as a contract, right? For PPC compared to 20 to 30 on cold calling, but a cold caller only costs $700 a month.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, and then you get about 2 contracts per month from that cold caller.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? Now compared to PPC, even at $200 or $150, 8 to 10, you're spending $2,000, $3,000 just to get a contract. Where I'm getting for $700, I'm getting 2 contracts.
Right.
So now compare and contrast, I'm spending about $5,000 to $6,000 to get 2 contracts for PPC when I'm spending $700 to get 2 contracts on cold call.
Yeah.
See the difference? I was like, So if I'm trying to double down, which one's going to bring me more contracts?
Just more outbound callers.
Exactly.
So
it's the best way of marketing. It's cool because it's direct marketing. If I'm calling you right now, right, John? If I call you right now, either you're going to do 2 things. You're going to look at it. You're going to be like, I'm busy. I'll call you back. Or you might pick up like, hey, who is this? Someone's, you have your phone in your pocket at all times. You're going to respond one of the days, when I call you. So it's like it's a direct way of marketing. So I feel like it's because I pick up every single call that comes in. If I don't, I call them back, right? It's like you never know who it is, right? Opportunities.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
What markets are you guys looking in and what's your source of data? Not necessarily the company, but are you calling expired listings? Are you calling vacant properties? What do you call?
So market-wise, we're nationwide, right? Chicago's my hub. I do a lot of fix and flips, buy rentals. We do a lot of wholesales, novations here, right? So that's like where I started from. But now we're like in all over Midwest. We're in Kansas. We're in Missouri, Wisconsin, Indianapolis, right? Indiana, all over there. We're in like Arizona, Florida, Texas is hot. But it's like we're all over, right? So what we do with the concept is the formula is pretty simple. You just buy data. You can buy from PropStream, Batch Leads, Kindskip Tracing, right? These are the companies that we use. We buy data. We'll pick up anywhere from 100K, 200K, even, a million records every quarter. Depends on what it is, right? If it's every quarter, we get a good deal, pick up 1 million, or every single month we're picking up 100K records, 200K records from different data companies. We'll pick up data, we'll dump it into our dialer, and we'll have our cold callers call those leads, all the cold leads, right? For whatever county we're in, whatever zip code. And this is all nationwide. So they'll call all that list and they'll bring us warm leads from that cold list. And now my acquisitions go build a rapport, negotiate, and get under contract, right? So we could use that at a national level. If you have that volume that we're doing, it doesn't matter where it is. I jump in, today I could pick up a zip code in Minnesota, right? Random place in Minnesota, pick up 300K records, dump it into a dialer, have my callers call, and we're going to get leads. We're going to get at least 5 to 10 contracts sold that month or the month after that within 60 days just by doing that.
Wow.
So
it sounds like you guys are great at picking up, putting deals together, acquiring them. once you get them under contract, who's handling dispo for you guys? And talk to us about your process on the back end.
Yep. So we do dispositions. We have someone in house. We have two people in house that take care of dispositions for us, and we use Investor Lift, which is a great platform. That has all the cash buyers nationwide. We also have our own cash buyers list. We have like VIP buyers, and we have our own hedge funds. And what we do is whatever sells in the local area. Suppose we find a property on 123 Main Street, right?
Mhm.
We'll just go to PropStream. We'll see what property they're selling for that area, and we'll just skip trace those people around us and just be like, hey, we have a property on 123 Main Street. It's like 2 blocks away from yours. Same condition. I know you bought here. I know you're a cash buyer. Would you be interested in another one? Okay, awesome. Go over price. Hey, how much? Same price. You bought it for 85,000. We got it for 65. Hey, it's for 85. Can I come see it? Cool. Just by that local.
Yeah.
You could just sell it that way. Or we have VIP buyers. We got people like that. Or if not, put on a hedge. Then we just do a novation. Right. Novation is basically using a flat fee MLS or using a realtor in the area, have them listed, sell it to a first time home buyer and get it sold. So
we just hung up with we were doing a podcast prior to yours with another wholesaler based in North Carolina. Eric Klein?
Oh yeah.
It's his dispo manager, Tony Mont. And he came away with a good line. He said, your comps are your buyers, right? Is that what he said?
Mm-hmm.
The best comps around you are your buyers. Exactly what you just said. So you got lock up a property, 123 Main Street, most recent 6 cash sales in that area. The first 6 people you should reach out to, because odds are if they're working on something in the area, they'd love to do a second one.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's a good, simple, but good way to look at it.
Yeah. If you had to look at the 8 companies that you have right now, which one would you pick if you had to kill 7?
Man. I love them all, man. They're all my babies. I don't have any kids yet, but man, wholesaling is like my bread and butter. I started with wholesaling. I built all my capital from here, and I just love having like real assets, right? Real property.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like actually going, seeing houses on on the screen, on Zillow, Redfin, just like giving offers, because you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? When you're talking about properties. So it was just like coming from making 12, 15, 25, like dollars an hour to talking about, I'll give you 150 for your property. After looking at, we do 120. So it's just like $120,000, right? Talking about stuff like that. It was like, wow,
Yeah.
My mom was hearing me. She said, what are you doing 120? What are you offering $120?
So you're selling drugs. What are you doing?
Yeah. Like, oh, no, it's 120,000. It's like,
Yeah.
what? Yeah, we're going to get under contract for that much. And then you move to like nicer areas like Seattle, you're talking about 600, 400, like,
Yeah.
450,000. Like, what? Like, I never, never thought I could even come across those numbers or even say those numbers. So we're locking deals up like that, and making 6-figure spreads, right? So it's just like, that's where everything started from. So without that, I don't think I would have any other companies, right?
Yeah. So knowing what you know now, if you had to start from scratch today, how would you build it?
First thing I would do is, time is money, right? So there's 2 things. Either you have time or you have money. If you have time, which I did, I would do everything myself, right? Pick up a list, start cold calling. But if you have a little bit of money, and I'm saying only like $2,000-$3,000 or $1,000 a month, I would hire a cold caller to call for you for 8 hours a day. That way you don't get burnt out. Because I know a lot of people that come to the industry and they get burnt out. Because I did it for 8 months because I had no other option.
Yeah.
Other people that actually have other options, they're not going to put in 8 months of just cold calling, get burned, get rejected. I had no other option. Either it was that or I just sleep in that 1-bedroom apartment that we in. So it's just like, I got to figure something out, right? So, with that being said, I was like, I got to take matters in my own hands and, do what I have to do. But for anyone that's listening, for everyone that's listening here, I would recommend buy a list, give it to a cold caller, have them work 8 hours a day for a few dollars an hour, right? We have trained cold callers at akcallers.com, or you can just go online and find someone that's trained. And what I would do is have them bring you warm leads. And you're only talking to hot prospects, warm prospects. You're only talking to 2, 3, 4 people every single day in the beginning, right? And then just doing follow-ups. But you're only talking to people that actually want to sell their properties.
Right.
People that actually, you're just building rapport, giving offers, making sure it's working, negotiating, doing all that good stuff, rather than just cold calling and getting rejected all day long, right? So that's what I would recommend. Buy a list, hire cold callers, get a dialer, integrate those 3 things, get leads coming in, and then just
And you've had a great experience working with virtual assistants in Egypt, huh?
That's correct.
See, what's interesting is I've worked with this guy for 4 or 5 years now. He's Egyptian,
Yes.
and the only virtual
Like,
assistants
yes.
we've ever worked with are Filipino.
Yeah.
So why are we not working with people in your homeland?
In my neck of the woods, I don't know. That's a really good question.
Yeah.
It's. Did you notice a significant difference on your side?
Oh yeah, man. They're. I don't know if you know them, but you're from there. Their English is A1, amazing. Not every single one, but the people that we're hiring, they all have their bachelor's degree. They're all educated, right? We're finding people that are going to college, and all that good stuff, giving them opportunity. And I even have doctors and lawyers and policemen working for me, because you actually make more money because we're paying them in USD, right? So they're making more money working for us as cold callers than they would make working as a doctor, working as a policeman, working as a teacher. Yeah. So it's like,
What's the time difference?
8 hours.
So it's like
Say that
you're
again?
The time difference he was asking. So it's like around 8 hours.
Yeah. So when it's morning here, it's nighttime there.
Yeah. But they don't go to sleep until like 5 o'clock in the morning anyway.
Oh yeah.
all Egyptians.
Typically because it's hot as shit. That's like the lifestyle they live.
Yeah.
So it's like you sleep in until.
And no disrespect to our virtual assistants that are watching this, because they help us with the editing and all that stuff. We love you guys, but we are going to have to look into some.
You're like, we're gonna have to look for some of these.
In addition, if we want to grow the business, right?
Hey, let's
No.
work together, man. I have over 400, and I can get you anything you want. I'm one of the biggest names in Egypt right now. If you ask anyone around, AK callers, well, yeah, AKs. I'm telling you.
Is there any pun in there? I'm just kidding.
Library, every single school, people are just finishing their school just to come work for us.
Got it.
Very
Because they
good.
know they can pay USD. And over there, man, $1, here is like 35 Egyptian pounds, right? And their currency is going down and down. So it's like you get,
Yeah. I can just imagine someone saying, "Hi, I'm working with people who want to purchase your property." like the bees.
So we
The
don't hire
bees.
people like that. We hire
Okay,
people
got it.
for English.
Got it, yeah.
Maybe after this, I could introduce you. We could do some. I can even give you guys like a 1 week, 2 week free trial to test them out.
Dude, yeah, that'd be
see if
awesome.
you like it. And then and we'll probably do some business together.
Sounds good, brother.
Absolutely.
More than
Well, this has been great. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. I know the first time we were had a storm or something. I know we had a scheduling conflict, but either way, I'm glad that we were able to connect.
Yep.
Definitely learned a lot from you, and it was exciting to put a face with the name, because we've been following you on Instagram and just loving your story, man. So thank you. It's been great.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
For everyone that's listening, if you want to follow me on all platforms, it's iHustleBro on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I just hired a videographer, so he's always following me around. So a lot of YouTube videos are coming out, right? Like lifestyle vlogs, me going to my different companies and how I facilitate. Because running 8 companies and overseeing them, I have, the way I do it is I give 1 hour to each company, right? So just seeing that in action. If you guys want to see that, follow me and watch my journey. So that way you guys can learn. There's no fluff in my talk, and everything you're gonna see is all there, right?
Yeah,
so if you want to learn about wholesaling real estate and do it virtually, make sure you follow me at iHustleBro. And I appreciate you, John and Cairo, for hosting this and having me on Light It Up podcast.
Let's do it, man.
Yeah, buddy.
Hope I lit it up, huh?
You
Thank
did.
you for being generous with your playbook. It's definitely going to be helpful and resourceful for someone
Yeah.
who's thinking about getting into this for sure.
I think a lot of people appreciate how much you shared today. That was great.
Yeah. Awesome.
And it may have been a little bit too technical for some people, right? But some people are probably like, what is ready mode? What are the KPIs? What is all these systems that you're talking about? But I think the people
Google
that
it.
are, in the trenches, making those calls, trying to put together, they're trying to go from 1 caller to 10 callers and trying to scale their business. I think those types of people will certainly find it helpful. So
It's all a numbers game. So it's the more the merrier, right? The more callers you have, the more leads you're going to get, the more leads you're going to get, the more conversions you get, and the more conversions you get, the more money you make. So it's all a numbers game. You just got to keep stacking it up, right? You can't ever put, never hit the brakes when it comes to this. Always,
I had a question for you, actually, just in closing. How many callers do you have for your specific business?
30.
30. Are each of them calling one certain lead source, like only pre-foreclosure? And are they only calling in Kansas City? Or do they call across the country and all different lead sources? Or do you just try to train specific lead sources?
Yeah, the crazy thing is, before I used to do okay, let me pick up vacant list, let me pick up absentee owner or code violation and stuff like that. Now, we're picking up such a mass quantity that is just
everything.
pick up the whole zip code. pick up the whole county. Like, we're not even doing, because the thing is, I'm getting leads inside that county or inside that zip code that other wholesalers wouldn't get because it's filtered.
Yeah.
And the thing about PropStream and Batch Leads, they're late to the filters. So when I pick up the whole county, that guy might be distressed today. Batch Leads won't tell you that guy's distressed today. He'll tell you that, oh yeah, it's pre-foreclosure 30 days from now, 60 days from now, or that property is vacant after the mailman says it's vacant. You see what I'm saying? So it's just like, you pick up the whole county, pick up the whole zip, you're the first people that are contacting them. There's so many leads. Even one of our leads that we closed, I made $102,000 on one assignment, right? It's one of the biggest assignments we did. It was from picking up a county in ATL, Atlanta, Georgia. So it's just like, I feel like, if you want to scale, that's what you have to do. You can't really go niche based anymore.
So one of your cold callers is not specific to a certain geographic area. He might call this zip code this month and put him on a whole different part of the country next month. Yeah.
So what we do, we just upload the list, right? We'll upload, suppose we pick up a list in Cook County, right? We'll pick up, or some 60659. We'll pick up that zip code. We'll dump, 300K or 100K records in there. And now my whole 30 people are calling that until they, burn that list up.
Yeah.
So I have people calling mass, like right away. Hey, burn it up.
So they may call the same list.
Yeah.
Okay.
The thing is, not the same person, the same call doesn't get the same lead. It's just like, it's all in queue, right? So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, we'll go here. So it's just like,
interesting.
And then we'll exhaust the list. So we'll hit it the first time and we'll re-hit it, right? And exhaust that list, because Ready More will tell you, hey, this is what the percentage is. It's at 80%.
Yeah, that's Kiro's territory.
70%, 60%. And once we're at like 50%, exhausted 30%. Okay, let's throw this list away. New list. So we'll maximize.
What we used to do that was beneficial is that we'd export the list and re-import it as a brand new list. And then what the predictive analytics on there, it would only go to the one number. Sometimes it wouldn't even hammer the rest of the numbers that are on there. And so when you refresh it as a brand new list, it'll hit it and you'll get a way more of an answer rate. So that's what we used to do whenever the list was exhausted. And our metric was like 10,000 leads or 10,000 records per caller per month was like the one that kept us juicing. I'm assuming it's the same kind of method.
Yeah, 10, 15,000.
Yeah. Per call. Yeah. So it was like that metric. And when you were saying 300,000, I was like, yep, that makes sense. That makes sense.
I don't have the patience for that stuff. Thank God for you,
But
man.
it's like those millimeter shifts that go crazy. He used to go crazy because I was like, yo, we need to get like this data part to like add on to it. He's like, how much is that going to cost? I'm like, $2,000. He's like, you crazy? Just recycle what we have. I'm like, it's going to make a difference. I promise. But it was a lot of test and error because we weren't doing geo lists. We were doing like list pendences. We were doing this.
Pre-foreclosure.
So like you get kind of screwed with specific services instead of doing a whole geo filter, which is a great way to make sure you catch everything.
Yeah.
Simultaneously.
Well, I get ahead of the actual issues.
Everything. Yeah. I get pre-foreclosure, people that are vacant, code violation. You get everything. You don't know
just find out on the call. That's all it is.
The thing is, you're doing the same thing. You're building a report, figuring out why they want to sell, right? Why they spoke to our cold caller, why they told our cold call, yes, they want to sell. And then once they build a report, they're doing the 20/80 rule. They're talking about the property 20% of the time, right? Just confirming all the details and and then figuring out the why 80% of the time, right? It looks like a good piece of property, Mr. Seller. Why are you looking to sell this, right? Now figuring out the why, and then, showing empathy and this and that, just like all of this, and, getting under a contract, right? So it's just like, whatever the case may be, once you know how to build a rapport and you know how to negotiate and, educate the seller, get under contract, right? So It's like, that's what it is. Like all the sellers are getting treated the same. Like they're like, you speak with every single seller like it's the last time you're getting, to talk to a seller. So it's just like, so that's what, we teach these guys. And do it at a national level. So
sounds like you got it dialed in, man. Well, congratulations. This has been awesome.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, brother.